Yesterday, the Cayman Islands thanked those who gave freely of their time with International Day of the Volunteer. And joining me this morning to tell us more about how Cayman recognizes that day, as well as the Year of the Volunteer, are both Marilyn Conolly, she's representing the research project that's going on in the civil society right now, as well as Leonard Dilbert, Chief Officer. Thank you both for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Marilyn, I'll start with you this morning just to explain a little bit more about this research project and how that ties into volunteerism. What exactly did we do yesterday to recognize Day of the Volunteer?
Sure, it's Cayman's first time recognizing this day, and what we simply asked people to do was to thank the volunteers who work with their organizations or in their community. I think all too often when people give of their time, a simple thank you will suffice for all of their efforts.
Absolutely. Mr. Dilbert, when we're talking about volunteerism in the Cayman Islands, what kinds of trends are we seeing, and how can we in government celebrate volunteerism and encourage people to volunteer more often?
I think the general trend is upward, if you could say that, in that volunteerism, I think, plays a larger part in society now than it ever has. But historically, I think we have a strong heritage of volunteerism. Many things in Cayman wouldn't exist now were it not for volunteer work.
Absolutely. And we know that the civil society is full of people who give freely of their time and are extremely motivated in that way. Tell us more about this project and the research that's going on within that society and how that ties in.
Sure. Well, right now the project has over 250 civil society organizations, and what we've been finding in the research so far with the respondents that have answered the survey and qualified for the wonderful prizes, by the way, is that most of the organizations are indeed run by volunteers. So we would really encourage other civil society organizations, faith-based churches, sports organizations, professional associations, to fill out the survey so that we can get a good picture of what is the state of civil society in Cayman, and more importantly, what resources they need in order to strengthen our society, because we really want to focus on strengthening organizations that strengthen our community.
Absolutely. Mr. Dilbert, going back to that and what we see in terms of government support for this initiative, tell us more about how we're moving forward with research.
We're backing Marilyn's research project, which I think is critical in that at the moment there's no general understanding of civil society itself, what that means, where that fits into the larger scheme of things. And I think that's a beginning in the sense that we need to get a scope for where civil society fits in to overall governance in the country. And in the end, some idea of what the actual measure of contribution is. Because I believe we will find that there's a very large amount of giving in the community. Now that we are faced with budget crunches and worldwide recessions and all this kind of thing to cope with, I believe the role of civil society becomes even more critical. So it's really a question of coming to grips with the resources that we have available to us and making the best use of those resources.
Absolutely, and they go farther the more that we're willing to give of our own time. Marilyn, do we see volunteerism outside the civil society as well, and how can we support each other in our various roles in the community going forward?
Yes, volunteerism really covers three components. The first is the activity, and the action has to be done on a voluntary basis. It can't be mandated by someone else. And secondly, it has to be done without financial remuneration. Sometimes there is a stipend here and there, but by and large it can't be the means by which you make a living. It has to be done without financial reward. And thirdly, it has to benefit the common good. So those components of volunteerism we see right across the civil society sector. Government workers volunteer and business persons volunteer as well. And they do that volunteerism within the civil society sector.
Right. I actually yesterday received an email from one of the organizations that I volunteer with thanking me for my volunteer work. And I thought that was excellent because people are taking this seriously.
Absolutely.
And really offering their thanks.
Absolutely.
Have you heard that response from other people as well? I mean, did you sort of get a feel that people are hearing those thank yous and are grateful for them?
I received one thank you, yes.
Okay.
But I would encourage anyone else who has any feedback to please send it in to us. We'd like to see how far this went this time around, and we'd love to continue to work with government to promote volunteerism and to make sure that the many people who give, as I say, of their labor and their labor of love are actually acknowledged and celebrated for their tremendous contribution to our society.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you both for joining us on Daybreak.
Well, can
You're
I
very
can I
welcome.
just not only thank the Cayman Islands government for sponsoring the project, but also the Governor's Office, the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, are a co-sponsor of the project. And anyone who fills out the survey is qualified to win over $1,700 worth of prizes on DMS stations or on CNS or CNS Business. So please fill out the survey. The deadline is the 17th of December.
Right, and give us the website one more time. For
Sure,
people to
it's
find out.
www.caribbeancivilsociety.org.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Conolly, as
Thank
well
you.
as Mr. Dilbert,
Thank
for
you.
joining us on Daybreak. I'm sure more people will get on board, hopefully at least, in the future with volunteerism as well as the research project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.